the Anycubic Photon Mono M7 Pro. Let's give it a review. Biff, pow, zap, clunk, clunk, ouchie. Hey guys, since I first heard about its release, I've been very excited to look at the M7 Pro, and in particular its dynamic temperature control system. So is this printer as good as I've hoped? Or have Anycubics' marketing department done their jobs very well? It has to be said, it's a handsome machine. Purely based on appearance, personally I think Anycubics have recently been trying a little too hard at their attempts to make their machines look sexy and interesting. But the simplistic appearance of this M7 Pro, rightly or wrongly, fills me with a sense of quality. Where other companies seem to be going down the route of flip-top lids, Anycubic is stuck with a traditional lift-off design. It comes with a box of sundries, including an air purifier, a device which Anycubic seems to have stopped providing as standard. There's also this curious-looking device which is part of the resin pumping system, which we'll come to later. The build plate is typically metal and sports 4 adjustment points, which in theory you won't need to touch, as the M7 Pro has a self-leveling system. It attaches to the Z-arm with everybody's favourite, a nice big knob. The resin tray seems to be provided with what looks to me to be a semi-opaque ACF liner, though I could be wrong about that. It also has a large and cumbersome addition secured to it, which I believe is a tray heater. I have to say, I really don't like this. All other considerations aside, this is surprisingly heavy to handle. Someone somewhere will drop this onto the delicate glass screen and regret the day they bought it. It certainly means that cleaning the resin tank in a wash station is no longer an option. There are electrical contacts that need to mesh together for the heater to work properly. But tank positioning is simple enough, and it's secured with the usual removable bolts. Opposite these metal contacts are a row of vents next to a USB port. This port has 2 possible functions. The first is to power the supplied air filter, though the fitting of this is appalling. The second is to power this device, a resin pump. The dual linear rails seem pleasantly robust, and the Z-arm travels nice and smoothly. There's a USB port for file transfers at the front right-hand side of the base. The rear houses a power socket and a switch. There's a removable plate to secure an external air filtration device, and a point to attach a small Wi-Fi antenna. Powering on is a little different with this printer. There's obviously this power switch at the rear, but there's also a small switch below the screen, and that must be pushed and held for a couple of seconds to bring the screen to life. The user interface is easy to use and quite helpful during initial setup. After that, finding everything is nice, clear and simple. I was able to connect my Wi-Fi with ease, and installing a firmware update was child's play. The main screen is a 10-inch 14K monochrome unit. There's 2 main ways of warming the resin. The first is to use the vat heater as a standalone unit. Through the user interface, you can type in your desired temperature and set it running. Now this is a pretty pointless process, as the screen never varies and it fails to tell you what's actually going on. So if you want to preheat in this fashion, just listen carefully as it emits a high-pitched whine in use. In fairness, I did expect the heater to be inaccurate, but I was wrong. I measured the resin temperature before heating with a standard beer thermometer, and found that the temperature reported on the screen matched perfectly that on the thermometer. And after heating for around 10 minutes, my requested temperature was achieved and confirmed both on the screen and the thermometer. Of course, a more sensible way to preheat is through the printing process. When ready to print, just select the Printer Function button and scroll through the list of options. Ensure Pre-print heating is selected, and sure enough, the printing cycle will pause until the desired resin temperature is achieved. The second way of heating is the one that's got me really excited, the Dynamic Temperature Control System. Given that you've already selected an ideal temperature, the heater does its job and simultaneously the pump circulates the content. So in theory, the tank shouldn't overfill and neither should it underfill. Moreover, the continuous circulation could well mix the resin constantly and prevent the resin from separation. What a marvellous idea! Or at least that's what I thought would happen, and that's the danger of watching these small promo videos that marketing experts tease us with. You see, in truth, even though this looks like resin flowing, it's not. It's just a graphic representation of heat, I guess. And these two elements, the heater and the pump, are independent with no actual intention to recycle and circulate the content. Silly of me for thinking it would, I suppose, though I must admit I still like the idea. This device gets attached to a typical bottle of Anycubic resin, and the two hoses are easily squeezed on. There's a power point that needs inserting, but everything else is automatic and controlled through the user interface. Want the tray to fill with resin? That's possible. Want to return the resin to the bottle? Yes, that's doable too. And do you want the resin to circulate around the tray dynamically to achieve an ideal temperature and a well-mixed content? Well, it should certainly autofill and warm, but certainly not really mix. Unfortunately, after much tinkering, I couldn't get the pump to work. I've never really been a huge fan of these devices, as I find them extremely slow and unreliable. Unfortunately, despite hoping things would be different here, the M7 Pro has done nothing to change my mind. I did find that out of the box and without adjustment, the M7 Pro did an excellent job of self-leveling, as this leveling feature ably demonstrates. However, the residue detection feature was hopeless. With a brand new printer and brand new resin, it reported a residue issue, and it reported one on every single print I did afterwards, making the function utterly pointless. I cannot say whether the print failure detection system works, as in fairness, I have not had a single print error as yet, but based on the other things that I'm seeing, I'm not that hopeful. When it comes to printing, Anycubic sent me a bottle of their water washable grey resin, and that's what I've used on all my prints. They've provided a beta version of the Anycubic slicer on the USB stick, though I would imagine, based on other models, that there will be no compatibility issues with other brands of slicer. This slicer actually worked well, but being a beta version, I was unable to change the telephone prefix to log into the Anycubic cloud. The free app worked fine on my phone, but I had to transfer all the files to the printer using the thumb drive. Now, these are the settings that came with the slicer, and they worked perfectly for my tests without any need to tinker or tweak them. Perhaps because of the addition of the heater, the fan noise during printing is the loudest I've come across on any brand or model of printer. Believe me, this gets annoying fast, and it's actually a relief to the ears when printing finally stops. Despite the resin being a little fragile and sticking like crazy to the build plate, I was overall impressed with the printing quality. The resin has a semi-gloss finish, which makes my job of demonstrating these prints that little bit harder, but I think it's fair to say the results are what I'd expect from a 14K screen. Even at high magnification, these prints are smooth and yet crisp. This gorgeous Mini by Archiville Games looks amazing. I've deliberately left the superfine supports in place to show what this printer can do. Of course, Anycubic are also making claims about fast printing, and there's an element of truth to this. This mini VogMan was printed with typical settings and took around an hour and 45 minutes. This one was printed using fast settings with the same resin in just 55 minutes. Now, before you marvel at this, these fast settings essentially halve the quality of the print, so this can actually be achieved on any printer. As such, as always, I remain a little skeptical about speed claims. So what do I think of the Anycubic Photon Mono M7 Pro? I can only form opinions based on the evidence of what I've physically seen and used, and based on that, I'm disappointed. Don't get me wrong, this is an excellent printer, producing excellent prints, but so does the M5 Pro. This unit is different because it uses a dynamic temperature control system. It's what sets it apart from the M5 Pro, and of course I did criticise that particular model for its failure to incorporate heater control within the user interface. Now, the M7 Pro certainly does work well within the user interface, and there's clear evidence to prove it's working accurately, which is impressive. But I'm still very unimpressed by resin pump technology, and its failure to work in my case means I can't judge this heating system properly. However, having used and reviewed other resin pumps, I can't imagine that circulation would realistically ever be likely to be fast enough to properly mix the resin. And as it isn't, I'd sooner pour my own resin into the vat than wait half a day for an ineffective pump to do it for me. I wouldn't stop anyone from buying this printer, but I wouldn't encourage them to do it either. Instead, I'd encourage them to look more closely at the M5 Pro before making any commitment. That has a standalone heater that does an excellent job, but it could be better. However, I still prefer the typical resin tray to the cumbersome one that comes with the M7 Pro. I've no doubt I'm not mentioning other new features that the M7 possesses, like its ability to count how many times the FEP has peeled. But the differences are so small that other than the dynamic temperature control system, I can't see any reason for this model at all. You'd be just as happy with the prints on the M5 Pro. But let me be clear again, I can only judge based on what I have here. And what I have here is a resin pump that doesn't work. So all in all, it's a great printer let down by a feature that suggests it can work wonders, but hasn't done for me. And that's it for this review, guys. I hope you found it useful. Take care, and thanks for watching.